what's happening everybody, and welcome to video 5 of the 168 hours challenge. I'm your host Callum Hopkins and have been for the last 5 videos, 6 if you include the bonus, and I'll continue to be hopefully until the end of this project. I say hopefully because I hope this project does have an end, but I will go into detail about that further on in the video. For those just joining us, welcome, thanks for joining, appreciate it. I would recommend that you go back and check out the first video. There is a link to that video at the bottom of the description if you're looking on Vimeo or YouTube where this video is hosted. If you are on an external site such as my blog, again thank you for visiting, you should be able to find the first video in a blog post on there. But no matter where you are, there should be a link to it. So if you're new, you're not sure what's going on, don't know what this challenge is all about, looking at this code going, what the frack, go check out video 1, it will explain everything, and then I recommend following through until you catch up with us. Don't worry, we will still be here. For the regulars, thanks for tuning in again, I appreciate it. And remember, if you want to catch up with me with anything to do with this project, you can hit me up on the social media channels such as Twitter and others, Facebook if you really want to, but generally Twitter is the main way to find me. But use the hashtag 168challenge, that works on G+, Twitter, YouTube, there's a lot of channels that's been used on. And if you want to ask any questions about me in general, or just want to have a nice friendly chat, I'm a likeable guy, I try to be. Feel free to hit me up. Again, social media channels are probably the best way, email's kicking about, so if you find it, or Skype, feel free, I'm always happy to have a chat with anybody. So, introduction's done, let's find out where I am. Let's go to that countdown clock. So, there we go, that's the time there. You can see that there has been quite a bit of time logged in this time. I'll explain what that's about actually. In previous videos, I have stated 2 things. 1, that I intended to do a video per week, and 2, I intended to do a video when there was a substantial amount of functionality to show you. You can't have both of them, that's what I figured out. It has to be one or the other, and in this case I chose to go with the substantial functionality. So that's the good news in a sort of way. If anybody's been wondering where I have been, I apologise for the remarkably strange gap. It's just been, I wanted to do a video where I was going to show you something and not whittle on about why I've been running into issues. I did run into issues, not denying that at all, but overcame them and got some nice functionality to show you, so let's go kick off with that. So as you can see, marketing page, still not there. It's going to take a little while to get to the marketing page. It's pretty low on the list. And again, the dashboard hasn't got anything, nothing new there. But this is where it comes into its own little thing. So we got the fist pumping image as you've seen on previous videos. Again, not sure what that's about. Check out the previous videos, recommend to do so. But what we do, if we go and skip to new image, you can see there is a couple of new things here. Nice, fancy meta tagging, as it were. So what we've got is the ability to add a new image. We'll be able to attach that image to a scrapbook, and we're able to add tags into that. So let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've got my placeholder image that I'm using just for the example being selected in there. I'm going to attach it to one of my scrapbooks. Please excuse the name for these, just for development purposes, but let's just put it in testing 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to add some tags. So I'm going to add hello world as one tag. This is a tag, a second tag, taggy. So, oh, and I've hit enter and it submitted the image. Apologies about that, that was kind of unexpected. But, good news is, all the tags have gone in, as you can see there. They've all got a hyperlink, which I'll explain that in a second. You can see the big placeholder image is there, so that's all looking good. Let's go and click on the image to edit it. So we've got this nice LinkedIn edit function now. Again, I'm going to explain again once I've shown how we are about some of the direction that's going with that. But you can see the image is there. There's an option to replace the image with a file input. That is working. We can switch between scrapbooks here, so I could switch to the secondary one, and you can see the tags have all came through. So let's just drop taggy there. Hit update. So now we're back to the view of the image, not the editing screen. Just to confuse you a little bit, I'm going to hit the edit screen again, and you can see the tag has gone and it switched to the right scrapbook. So we have the ability to edit image, to switch them between scrapbooks, and to add and subtract, well, not subtract, but delete tags from an image. So that's all really good, really exciting stuff. I was really pleased when I got that done. Let's jump over to scrapbooks quickly. You can see the two scrapbooks, so you can see that that radio option underneath the image for selecting a scrapbook is coming from this list. Click on testing 1, 2, 3, we can see that one of the images is there and the punch in, the fist punch one. I think if I click on this one, however, it's going to show them both. Yes, that's kind of annoying. That should be filtering per scrapbook. I think it was doing that, and I think it's just broke overnight or something like that. But you can tell from when we edit the image, it does pick up the selected scrapbook, so it shouldn't take a little bit. It shouldn't take too long to just fix that little thing. So apologies for that. I was kind of excited to show that, but you know, we've done pretty well. I think I've done pretty well. But that's not where we're going to end. So we're going to add a new one. We're going to go to /create. No, we're not. That's where we were. What was it? I think it was URL. So just had a quick look. It is URL capture. And I think that's big C. That is a big C. Okay. So I think it's kind of obvious from here where it says URL capture what it's going to do. But let's just fire this up anyway. So let's just, you know what? Let's not do something. Let's just go to my GitHub repo for the project. Let's throw that into there. Now this is kind of still in a working stage, so this doesn't really work. So we're just going to ignore that. That's been pulled over from the standard image upload. But if we hit upload now, that's gone green. You don't really see anything. What's going on? Well, if we look into the uploads folder of the project, we can see that it has taken a screenshot of my repo on GitHub. So I have been able to hook up into the application an option where you can paste in a URL and it will go take a screenshot of that and save it as an image. Now that again is, like I said before, is still a work in progress. It is restricted to a certain rectangle area that it's taken the screenshot of. Ideally I want the whole page. I want it to grab the top to bottom of the page and then take a screenshot. I'm still working on that configuration. Some of the quality is a little bit low just now. There is an option for changing the quality in these screenshots. I've put it low just now just to kind of save some space. I'm always conscious with that sort of thing. And the quality is a little bit on the dodgy side because of that. But one of the big problems I had was font rendering. So the plugin that I was using, which works in with Phantom.js and Node, so it's not quite Phantom.js, the whole full system that runs, you know, on almost every operating system you can think of, Windows, Linux, Mac, etc. It's actually a bridge between Node and Phantom because Phantom doesn't naturally go into Node. So there was not a huge amount of functionality and options there. I mean, the repo is the guy who's worked on it. I can't remember your name. I apologize. But the work that they've done is fantastic. It's a very complex thing to do, but obviously there's some areas where it's not fully customizable as running full Phantom. But I want to keep it within Node because this is a Node project. In any case, I was able to get a better font rendering changing the Linux configuration thanks to some brilliant blog posts out there, and I was able to pull it away from the kind of standard. So anybody who's I run Ubuntu server, just of a preference. If anybody's used Ubuntu as a desktop, you will recognize the kind of font that comes with Ubuntu was what was being rendered there. This is now allowed web fonts to kick in, which means we're getting a more kind of closer to Firefox and Chrome type rendering, which is the type of rendering that I wanted for these pages. I wanted the screenshots to represent as if someone had done the screen capture of the whole site themselves, but taking away that really annoying process of having to take a whole page and mess around in Photoshop. Want to get rid of that. Want to add this kind of one button capture. And I think we're getting there with that. So that's really exciting to get that going. You can see here we've kind of just got some images that I've uploaded and tested with. So this was another one. This was GitHub's homepage after the web fonts were kicking in. This one was... Now, was this prior? Let me just have a look. I think this was prior to... No, sorry. That one was prior to getting the web fonts working. So you see here in the your email and create password, especially in the sign up for GitHub button, fonts just don't look right there. Even up here in the navigation, it doesn't look right. Switch over to the web fonts. What you can see here, one of the web fonts is kicked in because this is now much nicer. There's still a little bit of stretch here, I think, but there's going to be some give and take, and I'm happy with that. That looks pretty much 99, maybe 95% like rendering on Chrome, and that's just does for me. I'm already impressed that this functionality was relatively easy to put in, and it's such a kind of faff to do when you try and take a screenshot of a whole web page. So I'm not going to be picky. I'm more than happy with it. And if anybody uses it and gets picky with it, well, you know, I will appreciate their feedback, but I will take it with a pinch of salt. So let's just have another quick look. This was Twitter that I tried with it. Again, you can see the fonts there. So a big improvement in some of these sites. That one didn't work. I think it was because I was trying to do a public URL, and Twitter has an overlay, if you're not signed in to view someone's profile. Google homepage, again, fonts. It was a pretty big thing that bugged me. That's the image we manually uploaded. And yeah, I think that kind of paints the picture of where we were. And that's our image that we uploaded beforehand. So the image uploading, I'd say, is pretty much almost nailed completely. The only thing I have to do now is just when you put in a URL to give you options of a specific image you want to save from that web page on there. Now, there's a kind of a bit of a moral issue with that, I will admit. It does open up the fact that you can pinch images from sites, but, you know, Pinterest do it. And I know how Pinterest kind of get away around it is because they put a link to that page. So any images you take, you're linking back to the page you took it from, therefore ideally giving them free traffic as a kind of courtesy for taking the image from the page. I plan to do that as well. The whole point of scrapbooking is so you can find things either in the real world and you take a picture of them, or you find them online and you want to put them somewhere as a collection that you can go back to. There is no point of finding a really fantastic bit of design work on Dribble, let's say, and then not having a link that you can go back to that later on. You'll just have this really nice image and then go, where did that come from? So there will be URL linking back, which I hope, if someone took an image from my blog, and, well, in the case of Pinterest, it goes on Pinterest, but there's a link going back to my blog. I'm pretty happy with that because there's a link going back. There's some traffic there that I'm happy with. So I hope people see it that way. But then this is a side project. I don't know how much exposure this will get to the real world. I would love it if it got, a good bit of exposure. But if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. So that, I think, kind of sums up where we are. We've always been able to create new scrapbooks. That's not an issue. We've seen the scrapbooks. Again, that slight little bug where it was pulling in both the images when they were on two different scrapbooks. That should be relatively easy to think. I say confidently now. He looks at it tomorrow and realises it's an absolute pain in the backside. In any case, I'm pretty pleased with it. It's getting very, very close to where I want to be. We can also delete these, actually. So if I go hit delete, it goes from there, and the image does stay. I'm in the process of getting the system to pick up images and delete them. I remember I did something that does allow deletion, but I think I just need to hook it up. I'm not sure. Again, that's something else I need to look into. Just one or two little things I need to just double check. But in terms of functionality wise, I'm really pleased where I am. I'm feeling exactly like that GIF right now, to be fair, thinking about the project. It's now forming into something that looks tangible rather than just messy spaghetti code and me tearing apart the mean framework. It feels like it's going somewhere now. So what are the next steps? And we're on video 5 now. some people might be saying you're on video 6. The last one was a bonus one. That doesn't count. So we're on video 5 relatively on where we are in the project. The next thing is definitely adding in the selection of images from the URL input, making sure, hooking up those options for URL input, taking a screenshot of a site, and ensuring that I take the whole page, not just that square. I am debating whether to allow the ability to crop off a section of a site. That might be something I may put to the side. It wasn't intentionally as I thought would be, but I know people would find it kind of useful, but I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want that there. So I'm just gonna, while I'm talking, I'm just gonna chuck in another URL. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about what is going to happen next in this area. What I think is where the direction needs to go. I know I need to hook up some of these little bugs, these little issues. I know I need to do the dashboard for the users here. This is very, very bland. And pretty soon I'm going to have to start working on the marketing. That, remembering back to the constraints card, there is no words allowed on the home page. That's going to really be tricky to get sorted. So I'm going to have to explore these soon. The user functionality, ability to edit profile, has kind of always been there inside Mean, so I'm not too worried. That's pretty much as much as you want. I think maybe including a little bit more of the usernames might be an idea soon. The managing social media profiles, I think that's a little bit overkill. I need to maybe take that away, but that doesn't take much. And I think actually one of the biggest things is, so if I go hit edit, so this is another thing I forgot to cover, was I've started to think about putting in the ability to make a scrapbook private. So a couple of nights ago, I caught my other half, Sarah, on Pinterest, and I started asking her some questions about how she uses it. She said she flicks through it and just looks at images, but said that one of the annoying things about Pinterest was the inability to take a pin board that she'd previously created and make it private after adding images to it. She had to make it private at the start and couldn't do it later on. She found that really frustrating for the fact that her pin board evolved. It started off as an idea for something, but then it changed and she wanted to keep that to herself. So I kind of got a little bit excited thinking about, well, actually, I'm going to put the private button in there, the private switch, as it were. I think that's something that's quite good. Naturally, if this ever got any exposure or traction, it'd probably take Pinterest maybe half a day to add that in, change some of the code, and that's fine. This is a side project. This is just some idea spitballing. I am not in any way going to take on any of the big guys who've been doing this for a lot longer than I have and have a lot more talented people doing it than I am. But another thing on the line of Pinterest that I am debating is the searchability that Pinterest does. That's the biggest thing about it. And again, Sarah was saying that she just sits there and flicks through images, almost like what people do on Twitter and Facebook, but she just liked the visual aspect and the response of flicking her thumb up, of going through a constant stream of images. I didn't have any intentions to put anything like a browse or search feature into scrapbooking. It was generally just an index system. I'm now toying about that mainly because I'm thinking everybody has to put an image on manually. We can see the process that you have to put them on one at a time. What happens if you're taking a screenshot of the same site between two users? Do I want multiple images here of the same site? I think that's maybe an overkill. So thinking about it in a more server management sort of way, maybe the ability to search and emulating this pinability that Pinterest is so famous for is maybe the best way to go to keep the upload of images, the data it needs for it, at a low. I also think as well that maybe it needs to be some form of return coming to this site. I think there will get to a point where people will stop uploading images and need to look elsewhere for inspiration. Maybe it needs to stay in scrapbooking. They're kind of some of the moral choices that I'm thinking about where to take this. Part of me thinks that I should just carry on as it is. Part of me is kind of thinking, how is this going to live? How is this going to survive past the 160-hour challenge? In all fairness, this challenge is what's keeping this whole thing alive or structured, as it were. There's a meaning behind it there. Once that challenge is done, does this system have legs to live beyond that? I don't know. I need to have a think about that. I think that was kind of thinking that I decided not to do at the time just to get started. I'm not regretting that decision. I think that was a good decision. But I think I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to have to start thinking about that. I'm going to have to start thinking about what this actually looks like. One final thing I want to talk about before I wrap this video up is the time. I am slightly concerned actually that timing of the 160 challenge is too big. 160 hours is a lot of time. There was a couple of times on a couple of tasks I was spending 2 or 3 hours sunk into a task, and it just didn't really make a dent. I think a lot of time will go in the design. I mean, this is just white. There is nothing there. Putting a little house icon to show that it was loading the home page, it's a 5-second job. A lot of the time I'm spending looking at code, debugging it, getting it working, and then moving on. Most of the time is spent incorporating middleware into Node, but the design is obviously going to take quite a lot more time than any of the coding will. But I still have this worry. I still have this worry that this is not a small project by any means, but I think that the 168 hours opens you up to do something far more complex than needs to be. Especially using a framework like Mean and using Bootstrap for front-end framework, it's a slight concern. I'll probably address it later on in the videos once I've got a better view. I think just now I'm at, a couple of meters into the tall grass and I've just poked my head up and realised there's a whole acre ahead. Maybe I should try going halfway through the field before I actually decide that the journey's not worth it or the journey's too large. I don't think the journey's not worth it at all, I'll take that back. But I got I got things happening. I can't spend all my time doing this forever, so I need to have an end point at some point. I need to have an exit strategy. So that pretty much sums up. I think the next video will be another extended gap to show some functionality. I kind of had a thought about this before I started recording the video. I think my next video is going to be when the scrapbooks are private. They have public URLs. They already have public URLs, but the ability to highlight the public URLs a bit more vivid. Oh, that was another thing. I've just clicked on that without actually explaining it much. But each of these images in the scrapbook, if you click on them, they take you straight through to the image. Ta-da! But yeah, I think getting back to the point, I think the next video will probably show a version of this application which is very, very close to its final initial state. So maybe there will be a search button here, maybe you will be able to search, maybe you will be able to take any of the results from your search result and put them into scrapbooks, maybe not. I need to make that decision. I'm going to say in the next video I will have made that decision. I don't want to do another video where it's just, rolling around and saying this is coming and that's coming. I'm quite pleased I've had something to show you guys, and I appreciate those who have sat through videos where there's been very little to show. Your support is always welcomed. And a nice note to round off the video talking about support. If you've really enjoyed these videos, even if you've slightly enjoyed these videos, even if you're unsure about these videos, I would immensely appreciate if you could share them on your social media streams with your friends. Just share it to your family and anybody you meet. I would love it if we could get some more subscribers, some more likes, and I think then it would maybe actually give me a little bit more oomph to crack on. As always, you can see the whole progress on the GitHub repo. There is one watch. I think that's probably me, actually. Yeah, that's me. I kind of got excited there. But yeah, this will always be updated with the new pushes. I did a push just before this video, so you can see there that's that there. So there'll always be more than code on there. I need to update the content a little bit behind the video episodes that you can see for this, so I put more links on. But if you want any updates, the GitHub repo is a good place to go to. Thanks very much, guys. As always, enjoy the video. Like I said, please hit subscribe and please share. Appreciate it. Take it easy, and I will catch you next time.